Does Raina die next week?
Yep.
I think Book dies.
Oh, I hope so.
Captain's Pod, Stardate 145174.1. Welcome aboard the Starship Sinterprise, and thank you for joining us as we take a brief shore leave from the world of CinemaSins to enjoy the universe of Star Trek. I'm your Captain Ian Whittington, and with me as always, she's finally allowing us to record outside of the sick bay. It's Ambassador Deneé.
I thought you just said Ambassador Deneé.
Ambassador Deneé. I would like to add, we may have to go back to the sick bay because now I feel sick.
Do you truly?
I've got something in the back of my throat that's like, it's making it hard to swallow. I think I got some airplane funk on me after 12 hours on planes and then 4 hours in an airport.
I might be wrong. Happens frequently. I think that every time you visited in the past, you've kind of
100%. I have one day where I'm good, and then the next couple of days, the airplane crud gets me. Like, the only time I didn't was when we wore a mask for COVID. So maybe masks are a good thing. Who would have known?
Yeah, that might be good. It might be good for you to think about that.
But you're feeling good. You're feeling good after last week. You're feeling ready to labyrinth this thing.
I'm at the point where I'm feeling well, and then when I all of a sudden am really tired and exhausted, and my body basically makes me sit down, and I'm like, why am I so tired? Oh yeah, I'm just getting over sickness. So
hideously feverish.
My mind is cleared up, and as much as it ever could be, I guess. And yeah, I feel much, much better, but I'm also aware that I'm just outside of it. Like, you have to take care of yourself. You get sick and it just takes time.
It does.
I feel like your mind gets better before your body sometimes. But thank you for asking. And thank you everyone for the kind wishes, especially on Discord. It was really, really kind. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you even more for the abuse you sent as well. I enjoy those even more. With that, let's head over to the briefing, the observation lounge to do some predictions for this week. No, you.
What?
Do it to me, Mount. Okay, hailing frequencies open, everyone. It's time to read your emails from Discord, Twitter, and, well, email. Check the description if you want to skip ahead and not be spoiled or polluted in your brain. Skip ahead to 10 forward while we do some predictions. Ambassador. So last week, Locke died and the Breen were scary, and Moll is with the Breen, and now they're going to a space library in the Badlands, which is where Voyager does their thing.
The end.
The end. Your prediction for this week was Moll will find out she is pregnant through a Mind Palace shenanigans thing.
I love how specific that is.
Your other prediction is that Booker and Moll will be faced with their father in the space library thing as well. Any additional thoughts on that? You still along those lines?
Yeah, I'm still on board for that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still on board. I haven't had any additional thoughts. I really don't have much to add, I think, week to week. I do get curious what the audience thinks, though.
So my ones were, I had like the same thing. We'll have the Memory Palace, Mind Shenanigans. My big swing is that we will see the Bajoran wormhole, because Deep Space Nine did a lot.
Which is very personal.
With the Badlands, yes.
With consent.
The wormhole in the Badlands, oh dear. Now I hear it. But I would love to see a updated version of the Bajoran wormhole. That would be beautiful in the 21st century. I mean, even if it's still there in the 32nd century. But that would be fun.
I have no idea what you're fucking talking about. So
Deep Space Nine, the wormhole, the Deep Space Nine orbits.
Okay.
Yeah, with the space aliens. That's where they live.
Yeah, I never saw it in the first place, I don't think. Like, I don't think that when you say Bajoran wormhole.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't think of the Deep Space Nine episodes, I don't think it's appeared other than in the opening credits, which we may not have watched.
In which case it was just an open, like
a blink
in the sky or in space. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it like, what makes it interesting? Is it pretty? Like,
it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And it's an iconic Deep Space Nine thing. Like, it's really freaking cool. Okay, we do have some cool predictions from the listeners that you've sent in. Wandering says, the Badlands were Voyager's first mission, but yes, they also show up a bit in Deep Space Nine.
What are the Badlands?
So the Badlands is basically, it's a nebula. It's a really disruptive nebula of like charged electric ion storms, super dangerous, super like inhospitable, and it's where the Maquis would hide because they had like tiny little ships that could like navigate through it and hide there, and the Cardassians and the Federation couldn't find them. So yeah, it was nicknamed the Badlands because it's so tumultuous. And that's where the space library is.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Good place to hide a library as well. So yeah, Winder is hoping for some Eddington hideout references, which is a deep cut from Deep Space Nine. I would love that. Their more serious prediction is that the Breen will swoop in at the very end of the episode to steal the next bit of the clue, or the actual progenitor tech that is revealed to Discovery at the end of this episode. Let Discovery do all of the work, and then the Breen will swoop in and get it. I think that's pretty solid. I feel like that's absolutely going to happen. Wandering Winder also thinks that Moll is pregnant, and I like this because Moll is pregnant with Locke's child, who is now the heir and will be the key to the whole succession mess. And as yeah. And as I'm listening to the podcast as I write this, you both seem to think this, so I guess that's just obvious.
You gotta love it when you're writing something that somebody else is saying at the same time. You're like, well, fuck, it wasn't my idea anymore, was it?
No, I feel like I was clever, but now I can't prove it. Sci-Fi Brony has a very specific prediction. Considering they're going to a library, Book will appear in the episode with books, and nobody will mention it, or there will be a really cringe joke about Book having books.
Oh, what if he's in a nook as well?
Oh my gosh. Book in a book with nooks that he took.
Yeah. Let's just keep going. What else can we do?
I'm out.
So fast.
Yeah. So I'm sick. I can't do puns when I'm sick.
You have to take a look.
It's in a book. A reading rainbow.
LeVar Burton's in this one.
Yeah. Oh, could you believe it? That would be.
Wouldn't it be hilarious if his character was somehow...
If he was the librarian?
The archivist?
Yes.
Like, if he was just the hologram version of the archivist at this library,
goodness.
And like a little rainbow appeared over his head whenever he when his hologram activates.
Might be too winky noddy, but I'm here for it. I love it.
I would love that.
It'd be incredible.
Yeah.
I have one final prediction that I believe was this might be from Wandering as well, but I mention it because it's Fred based. Prediction: Fred is the progenitor's weapon, and they've had Fred all along, and while they've been looking for him, he is the components that make the progenitor's weapon, and the software is in his head.
Can you imagine?
I'd be happy. I mean, he was just in sickbay the whole time. He's the weapon.
There has to be a reason that they pulled him onto the ship. That's that truly not going to pay off.
I mean, it was just the clue was in his head, in his eyeballs, I think that's all Fred will be.
Just part of the clue?
Just part of that very first clue. Sigh. Well, with that, let's see if any of these predictions come to fruition. And yeah, let's head over to the holodeck and watch Discovery Season 5, Episode 8, Labyrinths. And we'll see you in 10 Forward. Do to be well. Welcome to 10 Forward, the part of the show where we grab something from the matter replicator dispenser thing and share our immediate thoughts and feelings on the episode. We just watched together. Most important question first: what would you like from the programmable matter dispenser? That's the words I was trying to say. Deneé.
Sand. I want lots of sand, just an eternal bucket of sand.
Never-ending bucket of sand. Mm-hmm. I would like, you know what? I want the little... No, I don't want that. Oh, this is a journey. I don't know that I want anything from this episode. I want one of the boomsticks that the Breen have, the Chanty sticks that they stole from Star Wars.
How Loki is that?
Oh, well, I mean, it's not putting them into like a time dimension thing, but you're right. It does look like the TVA time sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looked like it was giving me Mandalorian and then it gave me Loki.
That could be the masks.
Yeah.
Now that we've got more into the Breen, I have some extra thoughts about that, but I might save that for the sins, which might give away my thoughts. But
it does a little bit.
It absolutely gives it away. Until then, Ambassador, I'm tempted to drag us to sick bay because I am my head is like imploding. It's turning into a gelatinous asshole.
So you really are getting unwell.
Give us a synopsis.
Oh dear. This is like the moment whenever the captain's not doing well and then the crew is all looking at each other going, okay, who's going to take over the captain's chair?
It's one of my favorite episodes when like Picard gets a cold and he's just like fumbling through like his commands and sneezing.
Oh, Well, let's make it a succinct show, and I will do my best to do the recap here.
Do it.
We finally get.
Inside voices.
We finally get.
No, now you're just closer to the mic. This is worse.
It's not worse.
The whispering is right in my ear.
Okay, I'll back up.
I apologize for everyone at home listening on headphones.
No, that's great. That's ASMR gold.
ASMR,
Fuck
yeah,
you, man.
You can't have involuntary ASMR. You have to get consent first.
Do you?
If you're going to arouse somebody, yeah, like...
Okay, well, put it in the description. And this is on you for not reading the description before you listen to
Exactly.
today's
Read the
episode.
description, people. I put a lot of effort into that every week.
He doesn't.
Do.
In today's episode, the Discovery gets to the archives by going through the Badlands. Was it as exciting as you thought it was going to be, Captain? I guess we'll find out when we talk about the episode. Mm-hmm. Oh, have you ever seen Neverending Story? Did you wonder where the palace went? It's been transported directly into this episode. And now it's been turned from a palace of the childlike empress into...
Nice. I got that reference.
Library.
Yeah.
Just for you. Run by a cuckoo bananas Klingon question mark ...
No,
question
not
mark?
a Klingon. Not a Klingon. An Efrosian.
An Efrosian, which is something that none of us have ever heard of before.
They appeared in exactly two movies, 2 Star Trek movies.
I may now have my
3 and
favorite
6.
alien species. Anyway, we visit the archives. We learn that they are terrifying and they have an oubliette, which is directly from Labyrinth lore, folks.
Wait, what? Is it?
Yeah.
No, I think the oubliettes predate the movie Labyrinth by several centuries.
Yeah. I mean, people have been putting things in holes for a long time.
Oh no!
And just letting them die.
No. That's the opposite of what's supposed to happen when you do that.
An oubliette? Isn't it designed for death?
You said people putting things in holes.
I'm talking about an oubliette.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway.
Call it what you want.
Also, there's unrest on the Breen ship as Maul decides that she is super, super powerful because even though her husband's dead, she has super special, I'm human and so I have rights powers.
Yeah, I'm married, therefore queen me.
Checkmate. She senses unrest and she drives a wedge between the Breen. She murders somebody important. We know he's important because he has a cape.
It's the Primarch, Deneé. Show some respect.
But don't be feeling some kind of a way about it because this guy proved to be an asshole because he destroyed the Discovery ship. Spoiler, he didn't. We actually outsmarted him this time, bitch.
Yeah.
And he also is going to destroy the archive where our lovely fairy lady lives.
Yeah.
And that is today's episode. Oh, and most importantly, we find out that Michael has passed the test. She is the savior that we all need.
Yeah. Thank goodness she was doing the test and not anyone else. Overall thoughts and great synopsis, by the way. Overall thoughts and feelings on the episode. How did it hit you?
I liked it.
I
had a really good time. Yeah. Did you?
Interesting.
Did you check out?
Yeah, I checked out. I'm sorry. I checked out.
I know why.
You know exactly when,
I know
why.
I know why. Yeah.
Everyone who has ever listened to any talk about Discovery will know when and where I checked out.
Yeah, it was the moment that we're inside her mind and her counterpart is her boy. Because it's the one thing that you've been talking about this since the beginning of the season where you're like, I just don't want to see this again. But the show didn't do it with Book. They did it with her subconscious.
Fuck it. That's worse.
As Book.
The only thing worse than Book and Burnham is Burnham talking to an imaginary Book, because now I have dreams in there as well. So one of my notes was, where is it? Oh, good. They're doing the exact thing I didn't want them to do.
Yeah.
It's so... okay. Overall thoughts and feelings from me, I actually did like the beginning, the end, and some of the middle of this. Like, this is a pretty fun adventure, but the self-testing, the finding my darkest, deepest fears stuff with Book, that there is a lot of cliche in this that for me doesn't serve the mystery, doesn't do the thing that it's trying to do. And I couldn't help it. After 5 years, I couldn't help but check my phone and just be like, I know where this is going, and I'll call myself a dick if it ends up going somewhere else. But guess what? Didn't go anywhere else. It was exactly what it was always going to be. And it frustrates the tits off me. Just have something a bit more. Grr. But I do think it compensated with some great action and pacing, and I think Rayna adds a lot to this, and the momentum, and leaving Rhys in command of the Discovery was fun.
Yeah.
I think in the past we've seen that scene in the past would have been the episode. Like, they would have lived in that for so much longer. I will give it credit for getting through it quite quickly.
Yeah.
But you really liked it. So
I did.
I want to hear why you liked it, honestly. Way more interested in that.
Well, I think I agreed that the pacing was really nice on this one. There's this intensity that's building because the Breen have arrived. There's and then it kind of like the juxtaposition is the quietness of Michael's mind. But I do think that this episode for me works because I haven't spent too much time with Book and Michael. Like, let's say that you've spent a lot of time with Michael and you've kind of seen her struggle maybe with these themes already. This is just hitting on that again in her character arc, or maybe she hasn't. So I guess that's a question I have for you too, is I know that you're over the Book Michael thing, but did you feel like it was a good progression for Michael to sort of dialogue to herself about her fears and kind of how far she's come? Because for me, it works having not spent any time with this character. I felt like it was a really genuine moment, and I thought that the actor was just like killing that scene.
Yeah.
With the emotion. I was really drawn in. The way that it was shot and kind of the close up and the lighting and just everything dimming, it just sort of all kind of worked to build that tension, and then just for her to kind of just, I don't know, talk about her progression. Did it work for you? Or?
Yeah, no, Sonequa Martin-Green, the actor that plays Burnham, is incredible. She's so good. And it does end up working for me because the end of the test is that she has this self-awareness. And this isn't just like a sudden self-awareness that she's come to find in this episode. She's always been very self-aware about where her priorities are, using her fears, being aware of her own biases. Like, I think she's pulled a lot from Vulcan in that sense of like being aware of how her emotions can drive her, but not like burying them.
Yeah.
So I like all of that. But to that point, this is all stuff I know she knows. Like, I feel like I've seen her have these revelations before. There wasn't really anything in there where I was like, oh, she's having a breakthrough. Like she says, if you want me to go deeper into the psychobabble, maybe I'm afraid of fear itself, and I hate that.
Yeah.
And she is very aware that she's being analysed and is analysing herself. So
yeah,
it works in that sense. I'm glad they played it that way.
Yeah.
But it does emphasize why I didn't necessarily need it, because I've seen her have these revelations a lot in the past, especially the job thing, especially when she's like, that's always been a big sticking point between Book and Burnham, is the mission is more important to you, Starfleet is more important, I'll never come first. And she's like, yes,
to
correct.
that degree, that's kind of what I wondered. And it bums me just a bit, but at the same time, I, as a new viewer, did not mind that it was there, because it kind of gave me that insight into some of her weaknesses of finding her identity in her job. But I like that it was tied into the mystery or the clue, which is, unless this mind palace, that was called something, Mindscape?
Yeah, Mindscape, yeah.
Unless there is like a revelation of this particular magnitude, the program wouldn't really give the clue, because they wanted to see self-reflection, and they wanted to see self-awareness, and they wanted to see a person that really weighs their choices. And so we got to see her try to solve a mystery. We got to see her redirect and go in a different direction. And she went with historical history. Then she went with, solving a maze. And then she just kind of sat down and was like, I'm going to die. Let's just think about my life. And I thought that worked for that moment. I think if I had seen her doing this a lot, it would lessen that moment. But I liked why we were doing it in this context.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
For the Book character, I didn't mind it because I haven't had much time with Book. So I'm a different, in that regard.
This is very clearly not Book, which is fun. He's way more enigmatic and frustrating. I like that. He was fun. That's why I'm not coming down hard on this, because this version of like imaginary Book, I love the sass. Like, I want more of that sass. It's really fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed the acting in this one a lot. From the archivist character that I thought
she was great. Hyrel.
Yeah, Hyrel. I really enjoyed her. I thought everyone was just feeling really authentic in this one. I didn't really watch someone and get pulled out of the moment. And I was really in this one too, which sometimes I pop out and I'm like, all right, I'm bored. Let me do something else. But in this case, I was really watching it. A lot of beautiful exterior shots and things like that we could definitely talk about. But for the book character and the way that was acted, there was so much depth in this episode. I really felt terrible for Book whenever he's holding the roots of the tree, which, by the way, are absolutely going to be used to reignite his planet. Come on, that's going to be a seed, right? Like that's going to that's got to happen.
That's going to be paired with the progenitor tech to rebuild.
100%. Yeah. Now, I have the same confidence in that Raynor was going to be a backstabbing asshole, and we don't see that. So who knows?
You're still rooting for it.
I don't know. It's clear they're not going that direction now.
Not a chance now. That would be an insane swing at this point.
I also thought Raynor might die this episode because the Breen arrived and he was going to sacrifice himself or something like that. But anyway,
no, I think he'll have a big thing in the finale.
I hope so. But I like that the Book character wasn't himself. That he was just this sort of like passive but also active character. Yeah. It was a little hard to figure out, but at the same time, I enjoyed it.
Do I look like Book?
Yeah, there was a self-awareness to the program that was fun. I enjoyed that. But then the Book character himself, the actual character Book, struggling with seeing this part of his home world that was destroyed, and then the mystery. We got to see him do some action through the lens of the Breen being replayed, which was clever. We didn't have to see the fight to recognize the fight was happening.
Fun. It felt very video gamey. I was like, am I suddenly in a Star Trek video game? Like that was, it was pretty fun.
And then whenever we saw how relieved he was that Michael came back, that was a real genuine sort of reconnecting moment for those two characters. So for me, that worked. But I can see why when she was talking to him specifically about her revelations and relationship that you would have checked out, that didn't ruin it for me. It worked really well for me.
It almost feels like more and more that this is designed for people new to Discovery. Like it really has been very kind to people that are new to Discovery and explaining it. But with that, you're bound to get frustrations with people that have seen every single episode. And when I know, I've said this before, we have so little time left, I don't want you to retread the same ground. What I will say, the biggest thing about the mystery that doesn't work for me, I had such a roller coaster on this one because the Book hologram thing, I said they're finally asking the right question, because when they get through, is it history? Is it a maze? And the hologram is like, how is that going to help us know, the progenitors know, whether you can be trusted and whether you're, he literally says, whether you're the good guy. So whether you can be trusted to have this technology and do the right thing with it. So I was like, oh my goodness, that's the problem that we've had with every clue so far, is that solving the mystery in no way guarantees that you're going to use the technology correctly. So I was like, I'm so glad they're going to address it. Until they didn't address it. Because
they kind of did, didn't they?
No, they didn't. They really didn't. Because, in my opinion, because when they get to the end, and he's like, you are showing self-reflection and awareness of fear and awareness of yourself and awareness of like guilt, and you really think about your actions and what you're going to do next. You can do and have all of those things and be a villain. You can be self-reflective, you can be aware of your own motivations and still want to use the progenitor tech to do your own thing. This is weak sauce. This is by no means if this is with your grandmother's cookie recipe, because we love to use food analogies, okay, the barrier to entry not super high. You're talking about technology that can erase life. The barrier to entry needs to be watertight and really high. And I'm cool. You're addressing it. You know that the clues haven't worked so far, but this clue still isn't doing that.
But how do you feel? Like, let's say that the Breen had gotten the final clue and they had got to the library first, and the Breen had pushed the button.
He fails.
He dies.
That Breen fails because he's a one-dimensional bad guy. He is everything evil that evil has ever been. He breaks his own word. He breaks his own traditions. He's horrible. He's evil. He doesn't listen. If you have a nuanced villain that is actually intelligent, as villains can be, and don't see themselves as the villain, like Thanos, for example. Thanos would pass this test. 100% he would pass it because he is sure of his convictions. He knows what he's doing. In his mind, killing half of the universe, moral thing to do.
Yeah.
I think by those rules,
see your
Thanos
point. No, I see your point.
And it's just frustrating. It needs to be more. or nothing,
Yeah.
because you cannot guarantee that this technology falls into the right hands through a scavenger hunt.
So what would have been better is like you go into this mindscape, you go through the first series of personality tests,
Right?
and then you're
the
told that
Myers-Briggs tests.
yeah, in order to have this weapon, you need to trill up because you have to have a pair. You have to have somebody else to balance your bad decisions. So like there's a sacrifice, and maybe that's what they're going to do in the last episode is that there's some kind of a sacrifice required.
I mean, yeah, then you're looking at the Holy Grail Indiana Jones thing.
Yeah, totally understand that reference. Yeah.
But the more I think about it, the more I'm just like, destroy the tech. Like, I'm sure that they've kept it because they know it can do a lot of good. But this just feels so risky. If just let history take its course.
For the final test, it does feel a little risky now that you kind of say it like that. But this is the part where the way that these shows are designed is you kind of don't want to stop and think about it too much. You just kind of like want to keep going with the adventure.
And I think if this is where like I can't help my Star Trek brain. If you've got like a 90-minute adventure movie, we'd still seen it, but it's like, cool, I'm along for the ride, great. I'm along for the ride, great. But this is Star Trek. This is a universe. This is a multi-layered world universe that exists. So this kind of scavenger hunt, I think, just inherently doesn't. It's fun. I can still have fun with it, but I think it inherently doesn't work with the actually being in the real world, which is what Star Trek wants to be.
Yeah. No, I can see that. How many episodes are left?
2, 9 and 10.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. On the home stretch.
Well, okay. That's interesting because we know that the last episode is when the writers knew that they were coming to a close. Mm-hmm. And so that one's going to be probably a little disjointed feeling, but this one coming up is designed to sort of maybe bring this story kind of more cohesively together. And we know two things: that the Breen believe that Discovery is destroyed, and I want to know how that worked for you. And then we know that they're going to be meeting up again at this location, and that our crew has like an important piece of the puzzle that she was given by Notebook.
So the destruction thing of the ship.
How was that for you?
That's fun. That's always fun. Like, I love crazy maneuvers. That's super duper Star Trek. It's a recycled Picard maneuver because...
Is it?
It is. So way back... Sorry, during his first command was on the Stargazer, and he only had enough power for like one quick burst of warp. So the idea was that he would like... Actually, no, Riker modified it. Anyway, Picard jumps to warp really quick, and it looks like the ship is in two places at once because it's traveling faster than light. And then the enemy ship doesn't know which one to attack. Riker modifies that by jumping to warp at the same time as a torpedo explodes. So it looks like the ship has been destroyed, but then Riker appears in a different position and attacks. So yeah, Riker, this is a Burnham modified, Riker modified Picard maneuver.
Nothing is original anymore.
This is the Picard Riker Burnham maneuver.
As someone who had no clue what was about to happen, did you know what was about to happen? Were you like, I know what you're doing?
When she said plasma and debris, I was like, maybe she wants an explosion. But then as soon as... I didn't really get it until the ship jumped away and then there was an explosion. And I was like, oh, it's debris, it's an explosion. They're going to pretend to be destroyed. So yeah, I didn't need Raina to spell it out for me, but I did need to visually see... It's fair.
I did.
It's fair. I was just like, oh, I know what maneuver you're doing.
Actually, I didn't need Raynor to do that. I did need Raynor to tell the people, get in line and do what your captain says. That was nice.
That. Get it. He's a good first officer.
That was really cool. That was hot.
Yeah.
But like when the Breen scanned the debris field, I could have figured it out then. Yeah. I loved it because I was really confused. Yeah. And my questions was like, why are we letting ourselves get this destroyed? And it's because it needed to look like the ship, like they needed to look like they were failing. Yeah,
exactly. It needed to be that last hit. Yeah, I love it. Seen it before. I mean, to be fair, it's hard in Star Trek. We've seen all of this before. Someone in the chat mentioned...
Some of us have seen it before.
Someone in the chat mentioned a really great comparison. We've done this episode before in Voyager, where Janeway has to rescue a crew member by going through this it's a hallucinogenic thing, and she has to go through a series of tasks, and it turns out that she designed all of these horrible tasks herself in her head, and the only thing she had to do was to sit down and talk to the original people at the beginning of the task, but she felt better about going through some challenges. Like she earned it.
That's crazy.
It's exactly the same what happened here.
Well,
Betty created her own tasks.
I honestly thought that the clue was going to be in the book that not Book was reading the entire time.
I don't know how it wasn't. I don't know how Book wasn't the clue.
First thing was that not Book is holding Book and says, this is a good read. And then progressively there's more and more of the book being consumed so that by the end it looks like not Book has finished the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would make it was either that or I thought that like Book would have it under his cloak the whole time. It's like, you just needed to ask me for the clue. Or like it's on my person, or they get naked and they get it on and then she finds the cloak. That's probably
it was very interesting.
Yeah. Your other point was about what was it about? About the Discovery heading off to the new...
that we were going to be meeting on the other side kind of a thing?
Yeah.
With the clue? Yeah, that's an interesting kind of... It's baffling to me to give such a powerful alien race, but I understand that the stakes were really high.
Yeah, I do get her logic with it.
Yeah,
especially since she thinks she has an extra element, which is getting to the clue, not just like the location, but how do I get to it?
Right. Yeah. But we did see in the future that the Breen have destroyed things. So like this could still be part of that timeline, although I doubt that they actually would do that, but still.
But it could super backfire. If I'm Burnham, I'm just like, no, this is kind of a lot. Like if
it's
I really, bottom line, you sacrifice the archive. Like it's things.
Oh shit. But that's people. It was 1,000 people plus things.
Needs of the many.
I honestly don't know how you like. I think Rayner would have made that choice.
Correct. Yeah.
And I think that's the point, is that Rayner in the driver's seat would have, I don't know. But can I tell you though, just as somebody who loves to go to museums and see ancient things and see things that have been preserved for history and as someone who had an archivist style grandfather who was a book he started many libraries and he had a bookstore, and I worked in the bookstore with him, and
the same beautiful long flowing hair as well.
Right. There is like this quirkiness, and I really enjoyed the archive. It was like its own character in a way.
Yeah, I'm glad you've mentioned that. That was my highlight of the episode.
It's so good.
The archive, it was also a design that I just haven't seen in Star Trek before. Like, this was a really beautiful design. Like, it's an original idea. Like, there are repositories everywhere. Like, we saw one in Lower Decks. But this archive that is dedicated to maintaining bits of information from all across the galaxy is such a cool idea. Like, we should have
really
a TV show in there. That's so fun.
I got the impression that the archive was very powerful with the character Hyman. Nope. What's her name?
Oh no, I want that to be the cold open so bad. Hyrel.
Hyrel, of course I knew
Hyrel.
That. When Hybe is like so quirky, and then she has this look in her eye when we're not supposed to break the rules, and then we're not told the rules. And so when Michael grabs that crystal and busts it at the end, I was half expecting this episode to take a sudden turn where the archive becomes the next almost like puzzle piece or obstacle that we have to get through, because
Hermione just turns on her.
She indicates that it's not a jail, it's an obelisk. No.
Oubliette.
Obelisk is different.
Yeah.
And I kind of got my impression was that this place is very dangerous. And
Me too.
When the Breen start to attack, I was like, the archive is just going to sneeze a problem out of the way, you know? But instead, that's the hardest part about the archive for me, is that the character itself was this really interesting, mysterious, powerful, a place where obviously they're protecting things, and I love the dialogue. The high base, she was so fun to listen to.
She was great, like the Valley girl accent going on. I was like, where
I
did
don't hear
that come
Valley,
from?
but yeah, I know what you mean.
Like
but like the
Florida,
neutrality
kind
of it,
Yeah.
And that they had this greater purpose of preserving information, and that she revoked their library card essentially was so funny.
I love
She
that.
stood up to the Breen, and I thought that they would have some sort of a weaponry to back that.
This is what I'm saying. Where I thought this episode was going is that the confidence with which Hermione delivers that you have now been, you are rejected from the library, from the archive, you're not allowed in until further notice. I thought she had something to back that up with. Like, I was expecting the Breen ship to be decimated
I did
by
too.
like some secret weapons, like we're picking up energy signatures that have been concealed, and when everyone just thinks the library is just this like quiet place, suddenly it has muscles and guns and lasers. Like, oh yeah, did you think we'd have all of this stuff and not be able to defend it? Yeah, we can defend
Insane.
it because like
Or
there's
just
this,
teleport them somewhere.
well, yeah, and there's this agreement between like the Breen, the Federation, the Romulans, the Klingons, any number of species have artifacts here. So you think maybe as part of the agreement, you have to arm us as well. Like, we will keep your stuff here. This is neutral ground, but we will be protected. And it just would have been so great for this huge honking city ship of a Breen base just like opens fire, and the archivist is just like, oh, that's cute. Boom! And just like fires back.
This like juxtaposition of this ethereal, magical fairy castle filled with treasures.
Yeah.
Like cracks open, and the most horrible monster is like,
oh my
protecting
goodness.
it.
It needs a Balrog. That
Like
thing
a
needs a
wormhole.
Balrog. Yes.
that like something that can just suck you in, and then you're just destroyed, and then all of a sudden the Breen are dead.
Or it just reflects the weapon. It just like, uses their own weapons against them. Like I wanted something a bit more from the library.
I did too, and it seemed to undermine the feeling that I had. Although, you know, okay, great job, hi girl. Like, you made it seem like everything was really defended, but it's actually not. And so maybe it's just,
I mean, it also like the premise is that it disappears every 100 years and it changes locations.
Oh, that's
what
true,
if when it's under attack, bam, that hits a countdown. Just like, okay, the most important thing is to protect the archive. We're going to be changing locations. That also serves as a ticking clock. Rather than the Breen attacking, there's the ticking clock of we're going to move to who knows where.
Yeah.
We need to get off before the archive leaves. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
It moves anyway.
Yeah. But despite the questions I have about that, that's the kind of as an indicator for me that I really enjoyed it because I wanted to know more. And when a story can kind of pop in and show us a little part of the world and I want to stay there, that's a really neat experience. For example, I didn't feel that way when we were on the planet where it was very dry and there was sand and
you
water.
didn't want to know more about those.
Didn't really want to know more about that place. But this place, and it wasn't because it's books, and there's got to be so much there that they could explore. But it was the characters that were there. It really was that main character, and Hyrule. She
nailed it. Hyrule was amazing.
She was so delightful to watch, and it was said in the chat, and it was in my notes as well. So I'll say this too: her customer service is what I think that you're picking up on.
Outstanding.
It was like, thanks for calling. Your complaint has been registered, and I'm happy to assist you. But right now, I need you to comply with me.
It was so great. She was so polite.
She was polite and bubbly, but also firm. And I felt like she was dangerous until we got to where the Breen were attacking, and then I realized there's really not much to be done.
It's so interesting.
I was also kind of concerned that when Michael touched the book and kind of went into her mind state, which we should definitely talk about more too, is that there was this moment when Raynor shows up and he's like, you need to go find everything that you can about this person. And she's like, yep, I'm on it.
I'm on it. I'm going to do it.
And that also told me that it wasn't that they're so neutral that they don't care what happens, that there is a care. So I would love to have a show based here.
I hope we revisit it.
Like,
I hope the Starfleet Academy show revisits the archive.
Right here. This is where I want to be.
Just the whole show.
I'm genuine about this. It kind of feels like a Deep Space Nine situation. Take us out of Starfleet, put us into a place where anyone can be. And there's like a neutrality to it and respect to it. And there's so many different things you could do. I mean, think about the different archive, all the things that could be there. And then, maybe there's this mystery about what protects it. There's so much that could happen in this like little space. This is where every D&D campaign, every like D&D style campaign for Star Trek or anything, like this is a gold mine.
This is the lore dump. You spend sessions in here. Just the DM is talking for hours on end about every book.
Yeah, there's books and all. I mean, there's also just things. It's not just books. It's
Yeah, artifacts.
Yeah. So I loved it.
Yep. There's something I wanted to mention, which is very cool. It's something I read online. There's a couple of different outlets and people on the Star Trek universe that have mentioned this. That's a really nice touch. And it's that each clue, now that we're at this point of the story, relates back to an iteration of Star Trek. So the Romulan notebook, obviously that Romulan was from TNG, but also it ended up inside Fred's head, and he's a Sung-type android. So the first clue was from TNG.
Okay.
The next clue was in Janal Bix on Trill, and that's a big link to Deep Space Nine, because that's where we really find out about the Trill and have all the information that we know.
Right.
The ISS Enterprise is when the next clue was found, and we first saw that during the original series.
Okay.
The weather tower thing was built by the Denobulans, and they were introduced in Enterprise. So that's a link to Enterprise.
Oh, what? That's really clever.
Then this clue is in the Badlands, which kicked off Voyager's adventure.
So do you think, obviously that's on purpose.
Yes.
How long did it take fans to figure this out?
The rumblings I heard about it was last week when the Badlands was mentioned, because that's the fifth and final clue. And it's like, this matches the 5 Star Trek shows from
cool.
the 90s and obviously the original series. So that's really cool.
Well done,
Bravo.
Writers. Clever.
Although I kind of hope the writers totally deliberate.
There's no way that's not deliberate.
Yeah,
there's no way.
No, it has to be deliberate, because it's not even, it's one each as well. It's very, very cool.
Well, that's really, really fun. It's those kind of subtle things that they don't spell out that are really great for fans to figure out.
I love it. It's why I love that we have the internet for this stuff as well, to actually share these ideas and talk about the theories and catch that stuff. It's so fun. So fun.
Speaking of things that we don't know that we're told of in the chat, also before we move on, Lodair mentions that the library stuff was filmed in a real library in Toronto.
Love that.
That's super fucking cool. So obviously we need to go there.
Yeah, heck yeah.
So
it reminded me of this huge library in London, actually. So I'm not surprised it's a real location at all. It's very, very cool. Right. Anything else, Ambassador? Did you want to talk about Burnham's Mindscape? Was there something on that you liked?
I know we kind of talked about the book aspect, or not book aspect. But I thought this was a really interesting thing, because there's a moment when she's actually given an out. I thought that was really clever. I just wanted to touch on it real quickly, because this is obviously a really intense situation where not only is she in this device, but her mind is linked to it, and it has the power to kill her. And they can't sever the link, or it would kill her. And so we know that on the outside, but she doesn't necessarily know that on the inside until she's told about it.
Yeah.
And then given consent moment. And I thought that was a really beautiful touch, where it's another way to weigh someone's intent. If they're not really interested, they can back out at that moment.
Yes.
And sometimes shows when they're like, you have a life or death choice to make, it's kind of like it's too late.
Yeah, or it's a big swing, isn't it? It's like, well, you better do this now or else you're dead. And then it's a big whammy of, wait, what do you mean I'm dead?
Yeah.
Front loading that, you're right. It serves the extra purpose of adding weight to Burnham's decision to be there.
She made a choice to do what she was doing. And knowing that, she doesn't know what's happening. She doesn't know the brain has arrived. I mean, she knows that they're going to be likely going to be on their tail or whatever. But I thought that was a really important kind of moment. And there's something about that moment too, where I relaxed a little bit, knowing that she was a willing participant.
Yes.
In
not being
this
too
particular part.
Yeah.
There's other things that have been done in this one that there wasn't really a willing participant angle, like the Trill when they tried to kill her at the cicada brood,
Not giving her all of the information at all.
That was like, oh shit, you're trying to kill them before they get to the next one. But this one seemed more important, it's obviously the last one.
Yeah.
And I also really enjoyed that you kind of thought that it was going to be a find a clue, and then you thought that it was going to be a escape the labyrinth, and then it shifted over into kind of more of an internal thought process. But I thought that was a really interesting kind of way that they did that.
Yeah, I like that too. And I think that's what I mean by, I think if we saw this in like season 2 or season 3, the entire puzzle would have been Burnham talking. It would have been Burnham,
and I wouldn't have liked that at all. Yeah.
And I think we would have felt it. But the fact that this has 3 different stages of realizations really helps with the pacing. If you are determined to make it about that final conversation, cool. At least you gave us some more before you got there.
Yeah. There also the idea that the lights were turning off as well. Just the
that was
feeling
really
of
sinister,
kind of
wasn't it?
closing
Yeah.
in and
like a brain
her,
shutting down.
Yes, and it worked really, really well. I didn't mind that we were pairing it with the intensity of the Breen, and I think that's where we should go next. Is did the Maul Breen thing work for you?
Makes less sense than ever. What the fuck is going on with the Breen? Like, I am baffled. We do want Locke. We don't want Locke. We need him. We don't need him. This Primarch, I don't think this Primarch understands what the rules are. So he was really, really determined to get... I've been trying to logic this out, and I think, bottom line, what he was worried about was Locke, I can't say his name, Locke making a claim to the throne if he was out there in the open. Even though that's not his interest, having him under lock and key gives him way more stability and power. So it doesn't matter if he's dead or not. If he's dead and in his control, that's great. That's fine. We can carry on. But it's not well defined. Like, it's the loosest part of this whole story for me. And Mole, to be honest, is just really lucky things are going her way. Like, I know they've tried to emphasize how important tradition is to the Breen. So in the same way, like, Klingons are very honor bound. So in theory, they won't do something that's dishonorable, therefore you can use that against them. I don't have the same background with the Breen. This feels super fucking convenient.
Well, there's that. This Primarch letting Maul on the ship in the first place, and then trying to get information out of her for this weapon, and then getting frustrated that he's not given all that information. I understand that. Like, I kind of like, I followed that a little bit, going like, okay, I can imagine why he would let Maul on the ship. But the whole dissent amongst the troops part, and then his motivation, and then he makes promises and doesn't keep them. So it's not really honor. This particular one is, I don't, and because I don't have any Breen to compare him to, I'm like, nothing. Is this more Breen or was Locke more Breen? Because I thought Locke was the odd duck. So I thought that he was like the compassion that he felt, or maybe still honor bound, maybe still traditional, but
I don't think he is. I don't think he's going to want to lead the Breen. This is what's baffling to me, because he is really important, because he's the heir to the throne. He is more important than any other Breen in terms of leadership, but he doesn't want it. But he also isn't technically abdicating, which makes him a wanted person. So it's just that what bless them, what they're trying to do is give us Klingons and give us Romulans and give us that depth that we've had 40, 50 years to develop in 4 episodes. You didn't even give us a whole season with the Breen. You introduced that we were talking to the Breen in episode 5. You're trying to do so much lore and world building to make all of this make sense in not enough time. There is too much of a lore dump happening here for me to really feel authentic about how the Breen are acting.
Yeah, and I kind of thought in the past episodes that we were given just enough that we can kind of make our own, choose our own adventure in the future, but now they're adding more and more onto it. You know, and I think that what's obvious is that the show is trying to say that this uncle character, this Primarch or whatever, Primarch, is a little too much for the Breen even. And so the soldiers are not enjoying, or at least not all of them are enjoying, and one just happens to be right by her side, that he is subverting their beliefs about staying true to your word specifically. Like, he said that he was going to keep the archives alive, and then he doesn't do that. And so Maul, in kind of the climax there, says essentially, like, you're starting a war. Yeah. You're also splitting up the Breen by doing this, and you need this weapon. And then she fucking kills him, which honestly I was glad for.
Well, he's useless, isn't he? Like, he has
seems like it.
This is the downside of the helmets thing, because everyone looks the same. Like, yeah, I know that his actions speak louder than prosthetics and whatnot, but he's just this evil. He's just a mannequin. He's just a mannequin of evil. Fine, kill him. I have no investment there. And
I wanted him to shut up, so I was okay with it.
Exactly. He is purely there to have the head-turning moments of the crew, where they're just like, oh, he wants us to destroy the thing? Oh, that's not fair. Oh, he's really bad. And that is just enough believability for when Moll kills him, for them not to all turn on her and kill her. Because, we kind of agree with him dying. That's the only reason he's there. But he's so one-dimensional. There is nothing interesting about him. It's just man kicks puppy.
Yeah.
Bream kicks baby. There's nothing else in there.
The show is trying to pull a lot of weight to explain their history to us, explain their passion to us, explain their too much, too far to us, while also not defining too much at the same time.
Yeah.
But really what we want to know is that Moll is now in a very interesting situation where she has just somehow become leader of the Breen. I don't believe it. I don't believe this is possible.
No.
I
don't think it'll be temporary.
Obviously, the Breen are designed that they're so invested in the possibility that their scion can return, that they're willing to do certain things to get there. And one of them is apparently put their trust into this human because she has bound herself to the scion. And so there's just some questions about, well, she's a human. We don't want to take her seriously. She's not a Breen. So I kind of like, part of it I'm in on and I'm excited about. And part of it I'm just like, I don't understand it. So I can't really care too much. And I feel
100%.
like that's where the show is failing more than in other places, because I think I'm supposed to care a little more than I do. But mostly because I want to understand the enemy, because they seem, by all intents and purposes in my eyes, seems like they really should be winning the day easily.
Yeah, they are super duper powerful is what we're getting. There's another good comparison, and I think this is why the Moll thing should be exciting to me but isn't. The idea of a human leading an alien species is really interesting, because I was like, how did that happen? The thing is, we've done it already, and we did it really, really well, because Tasha's daughter turns up as a really, really important person in the Romulan Empire, and it's like, wait, how is that Tasha? How did she get in with the Romulans? How did that happen? And this is with the Enterprise B, where Tasha goes into the alternate timeline to save the day and goes into the past. The ship gets blown up, and Guinan is like, "You're not meant to be here, and I know that you're supposed to be dead." So she goes and helps the older Enterprise, and then gets kidnapped by a Romulan, has a baby. And her baby is now like a really important person in the Romulan Empire. So, sorry, Enterprise C, not Enterprise B. But the point is, it took Tasha's daughter, Sela, her entire life to be accepted by the Romulans, to get into a position of power, to become essentially, I think, head of the Tal Shiar. And I get it, like the entire arc of her makes sense. Moll is achieving this in minutes.
I know. That's why I don't like it. That's why I said earlier,
quick.
It's like,
it's
the
authentic.
human character gets to, isn't it so lucky that someone that looks just like me who's watching the show has somehow is holding up this weapon and chanting for Caesar or whatever the fuck is going on.
That's Planet of the Apes.
Right, yes. I did think that it was interesting because this actor that's playing Moll knows how to emote. I have seen her angry.
Yeah,
I have seen her sad. But when she picked up that weapon and raised her arm and was looking at the Breen, I saw fear. And I don't know if that was intentional or not. I saw her going like, she knows that the next thing is either going to make her or break her.
Yeah, I think so.
And I don't know if that was intentional or not, but that's how I interpreted that scene. And I did like that part because there was a little bit of, what's the word? Reality in that moment. It wasn't so over the top that she believes that she will succeed as much as she's just doing anything she can to survive.
This was a swing and it was my only choice.
But I thought she looked afraid, and I really liked that choice. If it was purposeful, it's even better.
So. Yeah.
Because she had that little hesitation in her eyes, and I've seen her emote like confidence and like, I don't know, she knows how to tell me what the character is thinking, and so I thought it was on purpose, but it just looked like she was looking to this Breen in a way of, this now or never for this next step. And I don't know that we're going to get any scenes in next episode of Maul talking to this new Breen kind of leader person that she's alongside of to have a little bit of strategy on how to lead the Breen to the weapon. And is she the leader? I mean, clearly I think that she's leading them. Yeah, she's in charge.
Yes. Yeah, it won't be permanent.
No, not at all. But it's right now it is. And I think that that's kind of an interesting position. I don't know if I believe that it would actually happen, but it is interesting to watch it happen.
Wait, you wouldn't believe that this alien stuff with ancient artifacts and spaceships, you don't think it's realistic? No, I'm glad you mentioned that because it is a really great moment and she really, really does sell it. It's a lot. It's just, it's not the same. Yeah.
Yeah, she's incredible. There's some really fun characters in this show.
Yeah, I mean, season's really strong for that.
We've said it before. I think maybe those that are watching this series might be feeling like they're missing more of their beloved characters, kind of having more of the screen time because there is so much dedicated to this particular story arc. But I'm really enjoying it.
That's good.
So yeah, I really like this episode. Let's also talk about visual stuff before we move on. Is that okay?
Yeah, I was going to get into the discoveryness of it all in the battle.
I have said this. I have to say it again. How fucking sexy is this ship?
Oh, it's so great,
it's
isn't it?
It's so skinny.
It's such a like unique Starfleet design.
Thin, sort of like you can just, as if it was a paper airplane, it's just going to sail. It's so fucking pretty.
It's like you could put it on water and it would just float. It's so pretty. And the nacelles glowing blue. It is a beautifully designed ship. And this is completely redesigned. Ship? It's not the sexiest. No.
Which one's the sexiest ship in your opinion?
It's still the fat one. It's still the Enterprise D.
You like a little chunk in the dunk?
Because I do, the chunky chunk.
I think it's the Discovery.
Sexiest ship is the Enterprise E.
No.
Without a doubt.
I don't know what that looks like. I'm just saying no because I think it's the ship.
I can show you. It looks like this.
It's on your arm.
It's on my arm. That is the sexiest ship. That is sleek. That is a torpedo. That is a beautiful. It's that or the Enterprise B. The Enterprise B is my second favorite. It's very sleek, very beautiful.
I'm telling you, I'm really struggling. I think the sleekness of the Discovery, I think I'm sold. There's a moment in this episode when it drops out of its funky warp thing, and I was like, oh. I literally, at the very end, it caught my breath.
The debris appeared.
No, it looked like absolute dog shit at that part. What the?
When it arrives at the library?
It's
amazing.
So good. It looks so pretty, and I know that it's like the way that it's designed is just like meant to be really unique, but it's like, I think because it sort of goes out like wings, almost like a predatory bird when it's diving, where it kind of tucks its wings and just like flies in.
It's so good. It's so good.
There's just some really beautiful exterior shots. Once again, I'm not surprised. But we have like this Breen fight. We have the Breen burrowing a hole into the archive.
Yeah, that was cool.
Some gorgeous shit going on here.
It's very, very beautiful. And the Badlands, like the lightning and the plasma storms that are going on. It's a beautiful, 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 beautiful ship. And a beautiful show.
It really, really is. I think that the audio works for me too. There's something really, that little thing that it does. That's a terrible example.
When it comes out of the
when it's spore drive, it's spore funk.
Yes.
It just seems like it's dissolving on itself, and it's really uncomfortable. Yes. But the more that I hear it, the more I'm like, I kind of like that. And then like,
you hated it to begin with. I love this journey.
It really made me uncomfortable. It still makes me uncomfortable. Like when it comes on the screen, it does not arrive in any way it's supposed to.
Nope. It's so weird.
It's like parts of it come in first. It's not even fully formed yet. It's so fucking crazy.
I want to know what happens when you're in the ship. Like that just must be a mess.
Like if you're walking down the hallway, it's like your leg arrives in one moment and then like the rest of you just connects to it later. It's very uncomfortable to watch, but I really like it.
I love it.
It's just a really beautiful episode. I thought this episode was really, really well done. And I would watch it again, actually. This is one I kind of want to see again. There's a couple things that happen in this one that I really would want to go back and kind of look at. I would want to watch this episode on a 85-inch 8K QLED TV.
Let's go.
Because those little details of the childlike empress's tower have got to be beautiful.
Oh, it will be,
I want that as a desktop background. It's so fucking pretty. Okay.
I wish I was watching it on Aaron's TV. I couldn't this time.
My God.
I was on like a little monitor. I was like, I bet that looks really pretty on the television.
Next time Aaron goes out of town, I should just go over and just take his TV and see if he notices.
He will notice 100%, but I don't think he will do anything about it. I think he'd be happy that you were enjoying it.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to finish up, I do like the ending of the episode with Rhys in command of the ship as well and evading the Breen. I thought the crew working together and seeing them evade the Breen was really fun as well. I thought it was nicely done.
That was a really clever part too. Also, I should say, is like not only did the Breen arrive, but then the Discovery had to hide, and they did a really great job of hiding and solving a problem, and then coming out and drawing fire. And there was interesting stuff going on. It was very cat and mouse, while also just sitting inside the mystery confidently, and the time is ticking. And I felt like what was at stake this time differently. It wasn't just the Discovery, it was like the archives. And I think that's the idea. What a clever thing to put right here in our minds before we get towards the finale is this weapon could destroy everything. And here's an example of what it could destroy. But it's not the weapon destroying it. It's the person at the helm of the weapon that's going to destroy it. And the Breen are very easily, or at least this uncle character.
This Primarch,
Yeah, he would have been willing to destroy anything to have this power. And so I felt it more in this one, I feel like, which probably makes me a bad person in some degree because...
I was about to say, it's quite telling that we care more about the library than we do people. But like I felt it. It would have felt like a real loss if this place had been destroyed.
I kind of thought maybe that they would do it also. Like,
it was sort of mad.
They did take damage.
Yeah.
But it's like whenever I was little and I saw animals dying on screen, and it just hits different. Because there's an innocence in the character of the archive. So I think they did a good job of it not making it just about people, but about like the characters, the things that exist outside of culture that preserve every culture. And they made a character out of this archive where all cultures can come together, which is what this weapon could protect or destroy. It's a really cool idea. Yeah, it was really clever.
It's a nice, nice symbolism, nice metaphor for the wider context of the weapon. Yeah, you've swung me around on it. I liked it better. I think I got a little bit focused on the disappointment between having another Burnham conversation again and the fact that the mystery still doesn't make sense. The clue isn't guaranteeing what you think it's going to guarantee. But overall, I think it's a really well-constructed episode, a really fun adventure. Overall, Pips, Ambassador.
Oh, we're doing Pips again all of a sudden?
Yeah, let's do it.
We haven't done Pips in a while, but I'm going to give this one 4.
We only missed it last week because you were sick, and I'm going to blame you.
Oh, I'm not surprised. Yeah.
What would last week's episode be?
Considering I don't remember it at all.
Yeah. 2 Pips.
What was last week's episode?
This is where it was...
Maul
what was it
called? Locke died.
Eriga. With the Breen at the starbase. The fancy swirly starbase. And they have to negotiate and then,
I think 2.
Yeah, I give it 2.5. I liked what they did with the Breen in that episode. I liked it more than...
I think 2, maybe for last week.
One. Probably give this one 3, I think. Slightly better.
Yeah.
You can go higher if you want.
Well, I'm giving it 4. I really liked it.
You shouldn't give it that much.
Well, again, I haven't spent as much time with the characters.
No, that's fair. That's totally fair.
It's got to be like if you live in the same city as like a theme park and you've gone there your whole life.
Yeah.
And so you're like, yeah, it's okay. But then someone comes to town like, that was fucking awesome. It's like, it's your first time going. Go 700 times and tell me that again.
Tell me in 20 years. Yeah. Yep. I'll stay with 3 Pips. I'll give it 3 Pips. Okay. With that, let's head over to engineering. Black Alert.
Black Alert. Black Alert. Black Alert.
This is the part of the show where we re-engage our sin brains, remind ourselves that no TV show is about sin, even our beloved Star Trek. We talked a lot about the fundamentals of this episode, so let's do some nitpicky stuff.
Let's talk about how much sand is in that bucket. I was so distracted. When she starts to walk away, it doesn't matter. When she starts to walk away and it's just like, whoa. You just dumped most of the sand in your first pile. You need to be like slow roll with that, babe. Like you have a huge labyrinth to get through. Conserve your resources. I don't care if this is your imagination or not. It was really distracting to me. And because sins are just silliness, that's my first sin.
No, Deneé, This is a bucket of sand that was pulled from an imaginary man's cloak.
I hate it.
It was refillable,
I hate it.
I think.
It's coarse. It gets everywhere.
Yeah, no Star Wars in my Trek, thank you. My first one was just do what Hyrule says. So,
Oh my God! Just fucking
so
cut your
frustrating.
engines.
Just fucking cut the engines. Do it. This isn't a choice. Like, stop goosing the tension, you drama mongerers. It was so annoying. Hyrule was just like, you need to follow my instructions exactly, and if you don't, I can't be responsible for anything that happens. And then it was like, we can't cut the engines. That's outrageous. And
Yeah, that's one of my sins too. Is like, why did you take so long? Because she was so clear. I'm not responsible for your death. Just fucking do it.
And she's like, you haven't, Burnham says she hasn't led us astray so far. You haven't given her chance to lead you astray. This is her first time straying you.
Well, that was one of my sins. So I will go to the next one that I wrote down, and then I'm probably gonna have to go to the chat because I don't have many. I was really enjoying this one.
Good.
I think I already mentioned this one, but just her not even attempting to read the book really bothered me.
Yeah, reading
Just read,
book.
but it turns out reading, they didn't even have that as part of the plot anyway. So,
my next one was, this is, I think I need a bit more information about the archive because, please, Hyrule says it's our responsibility to look after artifacts and to keep them safe, especially like endangered species and planets that aren't around anymore.
Yeah, it was something about cultures that have been destroyed. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Having said that, feel free to take the tree and do whatever you want with it. No, he doesn't get to keep the tree. Keeping a record that Quajon existed
Says
is more
the man
important.
from England. Let's just think. Let's just consider where you come from, where you guys are used to just taking everything from every culture and not giving it back. I get it.
Yeah.
No, give it back.
We're keeping it because you can't be trusted to look after it.
You don't know that.
I know. We're keeping it safe.
This just looks terrible for you.
This is not a good look.
This looks
It's
really bad.
not. But on the side of the colonizers, no. There are no Quajons. There are very few Quajons left. So it's safer that, and Book shouldn't take it. The only reason Book is taking it is so that they can rebirth the planet and do the thing with the weapon to it.
Yes.
He should want to keep it at the archive so that future generations know that Quajon existed.
I mean, listen, I
What
understand.
good is it to him?
I understand.
He's going to put it on his mantle?
I am
Doesn't
a
even have a mantle.
collector. I come from a collector family. I come from an archivist family.
Your species isn't dead yet.
I had that same thought just like click through my mind. Like, no, it's safe here. You know, keep it so that. But at the same time, how beautiful to return it where it belongs. Like that's.
She hasn't done that. She's given it to a stranger.
She's given it to one of the last people that exists in this culture. It is
He could
his.
be horrible.
It belongs to him.
He doesn't. It belongs to the planet that doesn't exist anymore. It belongs to the galaxy now.
Wow.
Yeah, that annoyed me, and it's annoyed me more now that I've talked about it.
Wow.
Bad choices being made everywhere.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Your turn.
Wow. My sin, I already mentioned, how very human of us to really be supposedly rooting for Maul to do this.
Oh, yeah, that is the sin.
How very human of us, the viewers, to be like, yeah, go Maul.
Where is your humanity?
People that look like us should be in charge. Fuck that.
Right? Mm-hmm. This was one of the dumbest moments in the episode. Book, sir, you're an intelligent man. And so Burnham, Dr. Culber has said, hey, she's in a mind palace. The program is in her brain. She can't get out of it. There's a neural link. It's running a program in her head. Book runs over and presses the thing. I'm going to go in there and rescue her. How do you know that's not just going to start a new program in your head?
Oh my God, you're so right. This reminds me of a story. Aaron and I were once traveling for work, and so we rented a car. And he was driving, and it was one of those
I know this story. Yeah,
push button start cars, which are super fancy. Whenever we were driving at the time, they were super fancy. And we're just driving, and he's just casually says, start cars are different. They make me nervous. Like, what if you push the button? I, within 10 seconds, just go boop, and I push the button while we're on the interstate going like 70 miles an hour. It is like that. That's exactly what this moment is like. Like
it's so dumb. You don't know what it's going to do.
In my head, I'm like, there's no way they would just have it be like when you're driving, you can push the button and the car just shuts off.
Of course not. No. Yeah.
So
How
maybe
many people died in that crash?
it was so stupid, and oh my God, I have never seen Aaron afraid like that.
Oh
He
my
was
God.
so-
I imagine.
He had so many emotions happen at the same time,
All
and
at once,
I was
like
just
relief.
cackling like an
Oh
idiot.
my goodness.
Meanwhile,
Chaos
Book's over there
monster.
pushing buttons. Me and Book, man,
I'm
maybe
just
we're
like,
we're
the
more.
logic behind it doesn't work for me because, okay, maybe it sends you in there, but I think it's way more likely that it kicks off your own simulation and then you have two people out of action.
Yeah, he assumed he'd be able to go in and get her. Like, well,
Yeah.
hello, how do you know you're going to be transported into her mind?
You're talking about your consciousness being
Yeah, it's
teleported into
stupid.
her brain. Like,
No,
that's
you're
just,
absolutely right.
why would you think that?
You're
So dumb.
absolutely right. Absolutely right. Here's a sin from the chat. So we're doing the inner light. That came up so many times during the show today. I don't know what that means.
So I will just describe the episode of TNG.
Okay.
The spaceship discovers an artifact. The artifact then knocks out the captain of the ship and makes them live an entire separate mindscape.
What? That sounds very familiar.
Sounds very familiar. Yeah, there's an episode where the Enterprise finds an artifact and this bubble scanner thing is like sent out. It touches Picard's head.
Oh, I think I remember that.
Yeah, and he's forced to live the entire adult life
Yeah, I think I
of
remember
a
that.
person. And the
Yeah.
idea is remember us. Like, this species is now extinct.
Yes.
Take our memories forward.
I remember that one. That was a
Vesican?
really interesting one.
He gets a ReSINstance flute, but I can't remember the name of the people. Someone will tell me.
There you
So
go.
yeah,
There you
we've
go.
done this a few times.
Your turn.
Yeah. Okay, this is interesting. The progenitor map. So the final clue, when it's all put
yeah.
into places, they throw up the map. When they throw it up on Discovery, there are numbers, coordinates. When the Breen activate it and throw it up, there are numbers, there are coordinates. Still in English. Why is this thing in English? So I assumed maybe it was, when it was in Discovery, it knows that it's surrounded by people that speak Federation Standard, which is English. On the Breen ship, I don't know why all of these different scientists from different cultures, different species, are using English numbers. Even if it's Federation Standard. And it was very clearly like just our, not just Earth numbers, English numbers, 1 through 10. So yeah, it didn't feel weird.
Yeah.
I wanted to
That
see
is
it in Breen.
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, or see it in like some other like some of the
Something
language that
completely
they
different,
had to
yeah.
scan or something and like interpret. At the
Yeah.
very least, it should have been English on the Discovery and then Breen on the Breen ship.
Yeah, that would have. I could have bought that because okay, it's just adapting to its environment. Fine.
Chat says Federation scientists created it Federation Standard.
Correct. Still bullshit. I still don't buy it. I'm still calling bullshit on it.
Whoa. I'm gonna go back into the chat because I am out. How many more do you have?
I have a couple more. I got one big one I want to talk about.
David said, Sin, imagining a mind library that still uses card catalogs in the Dewey Decimal System
Hey,
in
look, once you find
32nd century.
Once you find a system that works, you just keep everything's from Earth. Apparently, yeah.
All right, that's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, like that. This is kind of similar to the language thing from the progenitor tech. Fine, it was made by Federation scientists. They decided to make it in English, whatever. However, there's no real reason for the Breen to be speaking English. And I think this is a really missed opportunity. I know they say at the beginning of the episode, the Primarch is like, I will speak in your language to honor that you are the husband of the Scion. Some
Even
bullshit.
though he hates her.
Even though he hates it. It's some bullshit. The Breen don't. And this is where I think there's a missed opportunity. The Breen, one of the cool things about the Breen, and I'm not saying that you can't change things and you can't evolve them over time, but we have never heard the Breen, to my knowledge, speak a single word of English until now. One of the interesting mysteries about them is that we never saw under the mask, and that gobble, 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 gobble noise was all that we heard from them. Just gobble, 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 gobble. Like the universal translators couldn't get anything out of it. And I kind of like that mystery. And I think considering the villain is so fucking blank to anyway, the only character we get from them is their voice. That's it. But you may as well just keep it gobble, 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 gobble. And then the subtitles tell us what's going on and somebody translates for Mole. That's fine. But I think that's more insidious if they refuse to
Eliminating
speak
her.
English. Yeah, I refuse to entertain you. We're speaking Breen because that's what we've always done. Because it just kind of makes me think, well then why the fuck where they're only speaking Breen in DS9, and I get it. Things change. It's fine. But I think there is a story element there that could have been satisfied by keeping the garble, garble, garble.
Yeah, I can understand that. That would have been an interesting choice for sure.
Yeah.
Sci-Fi Brony says, Sin, you're telling me that this whole episode and thus the season arc hinged on Michael and Book's relationship bullshit? I think that there's a point to be made about this, but there's also a point to be made about Michael trying to just talk about like her own feelings. I don't know if it hinged on it, but it certainly was part of the inspiration for it. So
yeah,
I can see how you'd want to send that. And I think that Ian would want to send that too.
It's clearly what the show wants to do. The show wants to focus on Michael and her building relationships. Fine. But I don't have to enjoy it. If that's your choice, cool, go for it. Executed well, it's not for me.
Any other sins?
Rayna, I kind of argued that Rayna shouldn't leave the ship. Captain Burnham was already down. Why is it just the next most important person goes down to the ship? Stop
so
fucking
he could die.
It's an incredible mix of micromanaging while also not managing the thing you're supposed to manage. Because he's micromanaging the thing on the archive. Nothing he did there couldn't have been done remotely, but he's not managing. He's letting go of the reins of Discovery, which does need a leader, and Rhys is great, and maybe it's just that they have a lot of confidence in Rhys.
That's what I was thinking, is that it's for the benefit of us seeing that Rhys is capable,
and that's fine. But I just think logically, you've already got the captain out of action. Rayna's place is on the ship, and I know we don't have the same rules that we have for TNG. Like during this time period, they were way more loose about the captain going on away missions and whatnot. But it's just like, Rayna, get on the ship. You don't need to be down here, buddy.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, with that, some amazing sins in the live show. Feel free to send us your sins via email as well if you want to vent. I've had a couple of people email that said, I don't care if you read this or not. I just needed to vent because we didn't have a live show last week. I just need to vent my sins, and it's appreciated.
Yeah, we actually had someone in the chat who was giving us a sin from Discord from another person that couldn't make the live show.
Oh,
which is really, really sweet. So Polly on Discord, through Wandering, says the sin is the Primarch is just Ceres from the Galaxy Quest, which I think is...
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, we love you guys. That's amazing. Let's head over to the Captain's Ready Room to do some predictions. Welcome to the Captain's Ready Room, where we hear our predictions for the rest of the season and bask in our Q-like glory for anything that we've previously predicted has come true. Well done, Sci-Fi Brony. There was a reference to Book and the name Book. I was like, oh, it's funny that a book is visiting me for once.
Oh, that was clever, wasn't it? It's visiting me for once.
Yeah, well done. They had to do it. I'm glad they did. I think it would have been a missed opportunity if they hadn't, so well predicted. We have not found out that Moll is pregnant yet, so we don't know about that.
But we will when we find out that she is not going to bring Locke back so that Discovery can have their win.
Oh, you think she's going to... Because there was a twinge when she found out that Discovery was destroyed.
Yep.
She did have like a sad twinge. So there is humanity in her.
Yeah, I feel like if it's just like this weapon can only be used once and it's done forever, like this weapon is used once and then destroyed. Do you know what I mean?
No, I don't think that's it.
Well, but if that's it, because let's say that they turn this weapon on and then it just exists forever, and that someone has it to do whatever they want with, then that seems like it's too powerful. So I think the show might present that this is a one-time kind of a use thing.
I think it has to, but that's not what's been implied. It's been implied that this technology will be great for the universe once the universe is ready to have it, or once the galaxy is ready to have it. If it's a one and done, that doesn't make sense to me.
Or once every millennia.
Maybe, but
like it has to charge.
Yeah, oh my goodness. That'd be anticlimactic, wouldn't it? Yeah, so we'll see you in 300 years once it's got its batteries back up.
But it also would be really interesting because they're going to use it. And so maybe it's like we need to use it so the Breen can't use it. So we have to use this tech for good. And so they're going to bring back Book's planet.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
so that way the Breen don't use it for the wrong reasons. So they just use it first. And I wonder if Moll will let Locke go because she knows he doesn't want to lead, and maybe somebody else would be better at it or whatever. And then she has her little baby, and then, because women have to have children to live happily ever after on television and movies.
It has to be. Yeah. They have to have a partner. Yeah.
If we're not mothers, what are we?
Right. What are you even doing? How dare you focus on a career? It might be that the Breen that that's being nice to her might be the one that takes over, because she has like a little
Could be.
green ally that was kind of like nodding to her every now and again.
Yeah.
I bet they're going to be related to Luck. That's my prediction.
Or
that nice
it's like
green.
400 years later, or how long do Breen live?
Oh, well, we don't know, but we assume the same as humans.
So if it's like, so then you fast forward 30 years and it's like, Maul has raised Locke baby and then he's leading.
And he's leading.
Because he can't be a she and lead. We know that. Because
We know
women
that.
also can't be leaders.
No. That's just chaos. You're far too emotional.
I know.
I don't think we'll be doing a time jump at the end of this. Just to be clear, that was a joke. I don't think I sold that way too well. I don't think we'll be doing a time jump at the end of this. I think that might be a bit weird.
Those of us who know you were just joking.
I hope so. You see me. My other prediction was right. Probably an obvious one. A mind labyrinth was happening. It wasn't a literal, well, there was a literal labyrinth, but it was more about mind labyrinth thing. But we both guessed that. In terms of next week, Ambassador, the title is Lagrange point.
Lagrange.
Yes. Do you know what the Lagrange point is?
No.
I think, and I know we have NASA people that watch, or at least one, and we have a scientist that watches. The Lagrange point, I think, is the point where
water boils.
No. It's the point where an object goes into orbit, I think. It's part of like Earth's gravitational pull. So I think the perfect point where you can stay in orbit without the orbit decaying and you keep going around, I think. I'm waiting for somebody to confirm or deny that in the chat so that I can edit this and sound really smart.
Somebody bullshit him then.
In celestial mechanics, the Lagrange points are points of equilibrium for small mass objects under the gravitational influence of two massive orbiting bodies. So there's a point between the Earth and the Moon where gravity would keep you in one place. So instead of being pulled to the Earth or pulled to the Moon, you'd stay in that exact point because the gravity of the Moon and the Earth is cancelling each other out. So you would just hover between the two of them.
Cool.
So I think that's going to obviously be how they get to the final weapon, is by manipulating two big bodies and manipulating gravity to get through the things.
Or it is. It is in that middle spot.
Yeah.
So they have to find a way to get to it without getting pulled into different gravities.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really hopeful because that feels like we're going to get a lot of Discovery flying around, which is making Deneé make strange noises because she likes... Yeah. We're going to get a lot of that next week.
Why? Because it's going to be popping in and out of places?
But yeah, exactly. But there is this interesting thing about like low energy states. So when you're in a Lagrange point and you stay there, you don't need to use a lot of energy. It's like this point of harmony. So maybe there's a metaphor there between these things all living in harmony and unison and relying on each other for this delicate balance, which is what you need to have this technology.
So someone in chat, Kachar, I believe, Kachar said there's 5 of them and there's also 5 pieces of the puzzle. So maybe that's part of it too.
Oh, interesting. That's really cool. Oh, I like that.
Definitely a balanced thing for sure. So I'm here for it. Do we find out that she's pregnant next week? Yep.
Yeah. Does Rhaena die next week?
Yep.
I think Book dies.
Oh, I hope so. Actually, no, I really hope that Book is able to...
Book's great.
Like, bring his planet back. That'd be really fucking cool. I'm really sad about it. I want space druids.
Bring the space druids back. I think that'll hit it for our predictions. 2 episodes left. Are you excited for the finale?
Yeah, I think so. I'm more curious than excited, to be honest with you, because I really enjoyed, like I said last week, I really enjoyed the story of this season, but making it the end of a series, I don't get that feeling. And so I'm curious how they're going to try to bring that feeling into fruition for probably the final episode. And I'm guessing it's going to feel forced, but I'm here for it because it's a beautiful thing to witness. I mean, Star Trek should be celebrating that they had another show for people to enjoy, that 100%. It looks this beautiful. I like the characters. I'm glad that I'm only watching the final season. Honestly, I don't think I would have wanted to spend a lot of time like hearing you talk about the continual like things going on. I don't know that I would enjoy this that much because I don't like leaning on relationship tropes in my shows. I'm really enjoying like the like the Strange New Worlds vibe, where it's like a monster a week kind of a thing. That's really fun for me.
Yeah, it is. I think you'd be exhausted by the previous seasons of Discovery.
So
after having it each time, yeah. Well, that's it. I'm curious as well. I'm really happy that we have an iteration of Star Trek with it's got to be like 50 episodes or more. Might be a
That's
couple
impressive.
of 12 episode seasons.
I hope
It's
they're
great.
celebrating. It's such a cool thing.
It's really great. It hasn't been cancelled. It's concluded. It's had a good run. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how they finish it. Of course, I'm most excited for episode 10 and for those extra bits that wrap up some loose ends and tell us what's happening next. Yeah, I'm excited for that. Well, if you have any predictions, any thoughts, anything you'd like to share with us, get in touch with the show. CaptainsPod@cinemasins.com is the best place to contact us, or discord.gg/cinemasins to join in with the Star Trek nerds. We will be kicking off a new theme in 2 weeks.
Are we going to do a new theme, or are we going to revisit the last theme because we didn't spend enough time in time travel for your liking?
I would love to go back and do some more time travel. I really, really would. So there's a good chance we'll do that. I have a list of themes that you've already sent to me. If there's anything you feel really strongly about, email us in those.
Because one of the things that we're going to do is where we have me just start to describe something like a random storyline, and then Ian has to find an episode that goes along with it. So
yeah.
We might be doing that.
Yeah, that would be really, really fun. We might do that for a few weeks and then go back into time travel, because we have a lot to hit on time travel. Or we might just do the best of both worlds, because I love that and we haven't done it yet. Well, with that, thanks for joining us, everyone. I hope you had a good time. We will see you next week, and until then, the Sinterprise doesn't have a dungeon. It's more of an oubliette.
I guess I'll do this one. And it's The Mind Doesn't Lie from me.
It does. Live long and prosper.
Thanks for listening. Want to connect with the show? Our hailing frequencies are always open through CaptainsPod@CinemaSins.com. Like, comment, and subscribe on your podcast player of choice, and be sure to visit CinemaSins.com.
Push this button. Click on this thing here. Push that button there. Go to the captain's pad. Enter the studio. Turn on the light there. Push the button here. Enter the studio. Enter the studio. Enter the studio. Enter the studio.
Hi.
So you know that I was really into those moments, those auction sites.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Well, you said you liked something, and so I got it for you.
You did?
Yeah. And at the time, you were like, "Oh, I'd pay you back for that if you got it, but I'm not going to let you pay me back for it." So this is a script.
What is it?
This is a script.
Oh my God! Look at this. It's the Generation script. I did see that, and it's signed by Brannon Braga and Dennis McCarthy, the composer. Oh, that's so cool.
Now this comes complete with some kind of stain on the back.
Oh, it's got blood on it.
Look at that.
Oh my gosh, it has a beautiful.
Look at that, guys.
Wait, that looks like the Nexus. That actually looks like the Nexus is going across the back. Don't touch it. Don't touch it.
It's actually got
Oh,
ridge.
that's
It's like
so
ridged.
gross. That's amazing. Open it up. Let's have a look. Oh, that's so
It's kind of, hold on. Move my microphone.
Ronald D. Moore and Brannon Braga. That's amazing. Look at that. Oh, I unapologetically love this movie. Oh, wait. Hold on. This script is not for publication reproduction. No one is authorized to dispose of dispose of same. If lost or destroyed, please notify the script
Don't read that part. Don't read that part.
We need to tell them. Read a line.
Okay.
I'll tell you what's happening. Pick a random page.
Data
I'll tell you
says,
what's happening.
"Me, sir." Picard ignores him. Picard, "Me, if you let me speak to Soren." The two sisters appeared to consider this for a moment.
Okay, pause. I know what's happening. So Geordie has been kidnapped by Lursa and B'Etor, and they're offering a trade. And Data's like, trade me. And Picard's like, no, trade me. Bring Geordie back, and then I'll sacrifice myself.
B'Etor,
if you beam me down to the planet first to talk to Soren.
B'Etor says to Lursa, the captain would make a much more vulnerable hostage. And Lursa says to Picard, "We'll consider it a prisoner exchange." And Picard says, hostage. "Agreed." And the transmission ends. Picard heads for the turbo lift. Picard continuing. Number 1, you have the bridge. Have Dr. Crusher meet me in Transporter Room 3.
Meet me in Transporter Room 3. I really like Generations. It's a much better episode of Star Trek than it is a movie, but it's good.
This is so interesting because it says, like, they put their tricorders away and begin looking around the room. Data continues to snicker and giggle as he tries not to laugh at jokes his mind conjures up. Geordi begins inspecting the probes, finally stops at one probe, which has several odd devices attached to the side.
That's the stuff I want to read. That's exactly the stuff that I want to read, because the dialogue, I know it inside out, but what the screenwriters had in mind for what eventually ended up on screen. That's what's really interesting, because they've got to describe, this is where they are, this is what they're looking at. This helps the actors as well. So Brent Spiner knows what Data is thinking about because he's just got his emotion chip. I love it.
So here's a part that you'll like then.
Is it describing the Enterprise?
He says, new angle, the plateau. As the ribbon of energy tears across the scene in a terrifying torrent of light and sound. The scene, it's watched out by blinding flood of red light. Then suddenly the ribbon is gone, and so are Picard and Soren. The plateau is strangely and utterly silent after the passage of the ribbon. Even the birds have stopped chirping in the trees. And
the next bit might describe the saucer section of the Enterprise D being destroyed.
Okay, as the energy ribbon rushes past the camera, a huge... so exterior space, Viridian 3. As the energy ribbon rushes past the camera, a huge shockwave from the destroyed star heads towards the planet. Exterior planet surface, the Enterprise, wide shot. The saucer section now has people standing on the hull, watching as the shockwave roars across the landscape, finally annihilating the entire saucer and everything around it.
That's
You're gonna love
good.
this.
I'm gonna love that. That is hands down the best ship lands on a planet scene, because I don't want to spoil anything, in all of Star Trek. It's so freaking good. And it is just, thank you, Katra. It's so good. And the way that they shot it was genius. It was so good. It feels so authentic. Read some more screenplay for me.
Okay, pick a page number. Pick a page number.
71.
Okay, page 71. What do you think is happening on page 71?
Page 71.
We had the same idea.
Yeah, I'm going to guess that Picard is talking to Guinan about her experience in the Nexus.
Okay.
This would be insane if I got this right.
Continued.
There's no way.
Picard.
Okay.
They're just trying to decide whether a 20-year-old Klingon bird of prey is any match for the Federation flagship.
No, I'm way off.
You're
way off.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who speaks next?
Riker.
Troy. Or perhaps they're on the surface. Worf turns to Picard. Worf. Sir, according to my calculations, a solar probe launched from either the Klingon ship or the planet's surface will take 11 seconds to reach the sun.
Oh, but Worf will take somewhere in the region of 8 to 12 seconds to get a target lock.
However, since we do not know the exact point of origin, it will take us between 8 and 15 seconds to lock our weapons to it.
Is that the nerdiest thing you've ever heard me say?
Oh my God, Wandering did it too.
So close.
Wandering did it too. You guys are so fucking funny. Oh my God. So there is this little channel I've been following on Instagram for like 6, 7, 8, however many years, like a long time. And she's this artist, and she's in, I think, Japan. And I don't understand anything she says. I just like her art. It's adorable.
Okay. Yeah.
And sometimes she does live streams. And one day she was doing a live stream, didn't understand any of it, but she was showing like some of her art and her creativity. And then she had this pen, and there was like someone in the chat said something in English that was like, "Oh, I love it. I'm so glad it's for sale." So I bought her pen.
You did? Oh.
And it's like one of these kind, you know, like a little.
Oh, it's a fountain pen.
A fountain pen.
That's classy.
And then I had to get this stuff, which is the ink that goes into it.
Yeah, the cartridges. Yeah.
So anyway, I'm about to put a fresh one in here.
How often do you write, Deneé?
Pretty frequently.
Yeah? Oh, okay. I take it back. I take my incredulity back. I mean, I used to write with one at school.
A fountain pen?
Yeah, and it was...
Were you that English boy?
Yeah, I was that... Well, I mean, I was in England, so it was less surprising. But yeah, I would write with a fountain pen, and they would leak, and the cartridges would leak, and yeah, they're a burden. But they're beautiful to write with. I have a question for the American in the room.
I'll get Reese's. Hold on.
Reese's would actually... He would love this. But while doing research, and I think I briefly mentioned this to you, I was doing research for a TV Sin script, and I stumbled across Pilk.
Oh, yes.
How
I
do
saw
you
this. I had never
ever
heard of Pilk.
of this?
No, I had never heard of Pilk before
Pilk.
before I saw it in the script.
This is unreal. So a character
It's uncomfortable.
is drinking a brownish, white, beigey liquid, and I'm like, what are they drinking? And I see that they pour a can of Coke into a liquid, and I realise that the liquid is milk. And I'm like, what is happening here? And yet I wasn't altogether surprised. I was like, America.
Here's my question. Do you think more of me that I haven't heard of it, and even better of me that I've never done it?
Yes, absolutely. I
Okay.
was relieved. It turns out after some research, mixing Pepsi or a Coke product with milk was a hangover cure, and apparently a 50-50 split is best, and this was a cure for a hangover somehow.
Do you think that was when they actually put cocaine in
Yeah,
Coca-Cola?
100%. Yeah, I think this is absolutely a marketing thing from Coke. Yeah. They were like, it will cure everything. Cancer,
Right.
hangovers, decapitation, the whole thing.
I didn't realize
But yeah, there is the
decapitation part.
I know, that's the lesser known false claim.
Wasn't there something that I told you to razz me about on the show?
Oh, yeah, absolutely there was. Yeah, so yesterday I've traveled to America, and yesterday we were playing a card game, and it was quite a competitive card game, and your lovely daughter Iris was sat next to us playing with her Lego set, very innocently. I play a card. Deneé, I think, makes an error and forgets to pick up a card, misses out on an opportunity, and just goes, fuck!
I could not believe it popped out of my mouth.
Just all the
Instant
syllables,
regret.
instant, just came out. And I just looked, I was like, don't make a big deal about it. Don't make a big deal out of it.
Same.
So I just eyeball Iris, and she's just playing with her Lego axolotls.
Yeah.
And I was
We both looked at Iris, then we look at each other like,
Don't say anything.
bullet dodged.
I don't know. There is no guarantee that bullet was dodged. That will
You're
come
right.
out because it's so
You're
casual. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I probably got in there. It's in her psyche now.
Yeah.
I am so screwed.
It's going to happen at school, isn't it? We have a question today. Iris exploded when she lost Connect 4. Fuck.
That's what I'll say when they say that to me. I'll say, well, fuck.
Yeah, that's what she said. Oh, this makes so much sense.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I'll have to own it. I mean, the big thing that I've listened to like podcasts and just like little mini interviews of parents who curse. They know that their children are going to hear it. And so I've begun to already give her certain scenarios where I'll say, this is something that you can do when you're older and understand more.
Yeah.
And I'll do that with words that are kind of on the border of uncomfortable, like dang it.
Okay.
Was one that my grandmother hated.
Motherfucker.
So, that's another one.
Yeah.
Cunt twat is another one. Just back to back.
Twat is the what? That's such an
No, I said cunt wad. Wad.
Oh,
Wad.
wad. Okay, much better.
Which is
okay.
definitely better.
Yeah, definitely better than cunt twad. Twat. It's not twat, it's twat.
Oh, is it?
Well, twat is fine, but
Twat
it's...
wat.
Twat. Twat is total...
What's that twat wat?
Twat is total waste of time. But in movies, Americans seem to confuse twat with twat, and twat is vagina, but in English.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Anyway, I'm going to have a lot of conversations with Iris. She's going to listen to the show someday. You know that.
Yeah, 100%. Just wait till she gets that's where I learned all that English swearing from.
I do hope that she understands nuance, and it is difficult. Like, there's another thing that we're doing now where she'll get a bit competitive and she'll say, I'm going to take you down. You're terrible at this game. And she's working on her smack talk. And so when she did this to me, I told her, just, kind of let myself feel my kid feelings. Like, well, that really hurts my feelings that you're excited about me failing. That doesn't feel very good. I said, maybe if you wink afterwards, I'll know that you're doing it kind of to be fun in the game. And she just immediately was like, yeah, let's do that. And then she's like, you're terrible. Wink. You're the worst. Wink. You're going down, sucker. Wink. And then I'm thinking, oh no, what if she does this at school?
Right. It's a free pass, isn't it, to do anything? I would have appreciated the heads up because she came up to my ear, whispered in it, and said, "You're the worst. You're going to lose at this game. You suck. This is going to go terribly for you. You're never going to win." And then gets in my face and winks, and I'm like, "What is going on?"
I saw her whispering, and I thought, I wonder if she's sharing strategy. But then your eyes got wider and wider, and I saw your soul start to crush. I was like, oh no, she's taking him down. Oh, no.
And then just like holds my face and winks. And I'm like, what?
She held your face. She was millimeters from your face.
Yes.
You were essentially nose to nose, and she's winking. She's so close you can't even tell that she's winking because you can't see that close.
This is so manipulative. This is like negative reinforcement. It's amazing.
I don't remember where we were, but there was some adult that she came up and she said what she wanted and she walked off or something. And the adult said, wow, she's very direct. And I said, yeah, just like her mom. You got a problem with that? Like,
asshole.
But I knew them.
Yeah.
But I was making a point like, yes, she's like me.
What a surprise.
And then I kind of chuckled and I said, I think the greatest gift that I can give her is to understand nuance.
Yeah.
Because when you're a woman and you're direct and you're confident, it can really make people uneasy in my experience. And maybe things will be different by the time she becomes, old enough, but it does make it uncomfortable. Like when you do it to a teacher. So I've been teaching her about authority figures and people who get to tell you what to do. And even if you're right, even if you know better, you have to make a decision that if you disobey, there's consequences for it. And so all of those processes can be a lot, which is why I love games with her like Gubs, where you have to kind of like choose your own consequence adventure. And I feel like it's kind of teaching her how to like get into those nuances.
Yeah.
I could do an entire podcast on just my parenting style, I think.
I think you should. I think
You
that
do
would be
not.
fun. Yes, I do. I've told you should.
Don't.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't. So Deneé, today I want you to tell me why you let your daughter go to bed whenever she wants.
Oh, yeah, no, I would be the one like just poking holes in everything and being super annoying. Yeah. Okay, you ready to start the show?
Ready.
Let's do it. Captain Spot, start
I'm
it.
covered in ink.
That's...
Sorry, I'm not. I'm fine.
I was going to nail that first time, for the record.
Oh.
Yeah, 100%. We will see you next week, and until then, the Sinterprise doesn't have a dungeon. It's more of an oubliette.
Oh, shit from me. Because I forgot.
Wait, Rainer says, oh shit, that works.
Does he really?
Yeah, he said shit, because like the
Did he
bream
say,
were coming
"Oh, shit"?
or something. I think he might just say, well shit, or
Okay.
oh shit. It was close. I'll take it.
No. I just need to look. I forgot to highlight it. I'm sorry.
They're talking about thrust.
Oh, lovely.
Can spaceships go backwards?
Can
I
they?
love that. They can, yeah, absolutely. They use thrusters if they want to go backwards. I don't think they can warp backwards, but
Which is stupid,
I don't know why they would
honestly.
need to. I don't know why you'd ever need to do that, though. They're having a great conversation, though. Would you blow the transmission going forward warp to reverse warp? I would rip your nacelles off.
I'm going to rip your nacelles. Can I tell you what Iris got me for Mother's Day? Did I tell you last week?
It wasn't in the show. You did tell me, but I don't think we recorded it.
I don't want to be too repetitive. So I told her that I wanted her to get me like a house plant, something for the house. And I said, take your dad, tell him that you want to get like an expensive, a nice plant. I didn't say expensive. I said a nice plant at one of my favorite little garden shops here in town. And she says, okay. And so I give Justin the heads up, like Iris she's got a plan and you're going to have to go to the garden store. And he kind of was like, okay, not a big deal. I can do that. So come around Sunday morning, Iris wakes me up and she says, we've got to go to the garage for your Mother's Day present. And I'm thinking, what the fuck did they buy at the garden store that it had to be stored in the garage? And so I walk out and she's like, it's around the corner over here. And I'm like, what the fuck has to be hidden out of the way? Is it going to be a tree? Is it going to be like a big bush? Like certainly Justin would give her some parameters. I was actually expecting like a pear tree or like an apple tree, just something insane.
Olive tree, yeah.
I come around the corner and on the ground are two tiny little plants in two tiny little 2-inch starter things. And one of them is a watermelon plant. And the other one is like a chili plant. I think it's a tomatillo kind of a thing. And it has these little tiny little flowering buds on it where the doing its plant thing. I was shocked in kind of like a way where it's like, oh, no. But like also, oh, this is really cute because she picked what she wants. She wants watermelons.
Yeah.
Mom wants a plant. I want a watermelon. Marry the two ideas together. Here you go, Mom.
It feels irresponsible
mother who can
to
barely
sell them.
keep a house plant alive. Please
I
go.
don't know why you're selling watermelon plants in Missouri. You're never getting watermelons.
That's not true.
Really?
Oh my God.
How are you going to do that?
With plenty of
garden?
watering and sunshine.
Okay.
Yeah. It had like a picture on the side and it was called like a sugar baby watermelon. I think they're about cantaloupe size. So they're not like the big watermelons.
Not the big honeydew yeah.
So round comes my friend Jen, whom I adore. She comes over almost every Sunday, and she's usually in the yard doing yard work with Iris. They're planting things, like around the dead fish. And she sees these, and she begins to kind of tell me what I'm going to have to do to grow this plant, including little hammocks for when they bud out. Like you kind of like
because they're so heavy.
You kind of like you grow the vine on something where it can cling, and then when the fruit comes, because you want to keep them off of the ground. Mm-hmm. So when they're aerial, you then need to kind of build a little hammock support.
Oh, and that's way too involved.
Yeah. As soon as I heard hammock
building,
I was like, no.
No.
Yeah. Just as soon as I heard go outside, then I was like,
no. This needs to be done in my kitchen. I don't know if you answered this. Have you or Ian ever had a cameo in a Sins video besides ads for Captain's Pod?
Yes.
The answer is yes.
We all had like a tiny little role to play on the Everything Everywhere All at Once video. Mm-hmm. That was the entire team.
We played 2 characters, actually.
Yeah. All active writers. In fact, Babs makes an appearance on that one.
Yeah, Babs does. And an unnamed Ian version of Babs. It's an outrage.
And Iris too. Yes, she does.
She does. That was amazing.
Her little voice. She did so good.
She did so good
with that.
I can't remember. There's another video. There's definitely another video you've been on. There's a TV Sins video that I've been on.
I feel like there was one moment when I did have a speaking role on TV Sins.
Yeah, I think so. I think the narrator asks you something.
And asked it was something like that. We kind of sometimes will play around with the mixture of the multiverse a little bit, which is really delightful. I remember that too. I wish we were kind of like keeping better track of where they are and maybe had them on like our wiki or something. But was it WandaVision?
It might have been. That would be a while back.
A sexist. It does seem like it was a while back.
Yeah. Get Deneé to speak on behalf of all women.
Heels. Mm-hmm. Nice memory, chat. Holy shit. I don't know what this note means, so I'm going to skip that one. This is the thing he didn't want, but it's an errorum, and I don't know if I just like had my fingers on the wrong keys when I wrote that last word because I don't know what that means.
About what any of that means.
It's obviously a sin, though.
Yeah, ding it. Ding the heck out of it.
There was a question. This is a good one, and then you might even include it in the show. Question from the chat. How are you feeling, Captain? Because way back, you didn't want to do Discovery?
Yeah, I mean, my biggest hesitation was naively just trying to be kind to Deneé and not chuck her in to season 5 of a show. But she wanted to, and it's beautiful, and she did great, and I think it's worked really, really well. I'm really, honestly, truly glad we've done this. And largely because it's nice to see modern Star Trek as well. Like, we only have Strange New Worlds, really, at the minute, in terms of live action. And this show is just beautiful. Like, just visually, it's great. So, I'm happy.
La, 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 la. What's it like being my friend?
It's amazing.